Hello, ladies and gentlemen, loyal Imperial citizens and rebel scum alike. Welcome to another Liam Maiden gameplay video. Back with more Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Just a quick video today because I want to address a question that I've been asked a number of times, and that is, how much did I spend to unlock Sith Eternal Emperor? Now, if you didn't follow my journey to unlocking Sith Eternal and you'd like to, I'll pop a link in the right hand corner to the playlist, and also I'll put a link in the description down below so you can watch those videos. Basically, I spent 8 months from the beginning of the year, the end of January, through to the end of August, farming and then unlocking my first Galactic Legend, Sith Eternal Emperor. As you can see here, I'm still very much in the process of powering him up. I've got him up to gear 10, but it's just a grind to get those other pieces in. I've also spent so long focusing on Sith Eternal that I'm now really enjoying getting to invest in some other characters too, so it's going to take me a little while to get him up to Relic. You need to take your Galactic Legends up to Relic until you can utilize, you can utilize their ultimate ability, which is really what makes them Galactic Legends. So you need to reach that Relic level before you can utilize that ultimate ability. So right now he's not super useful. That said, I do think he's worth it. I'm very, very pleased that I have invested in him, and I'm looking forward to using him in future once I've got him relicked. But here's the thing. I set myself the goal this year of getting my first Galactic Legend, achievement unlocked, and I set myself the deadline of doing it in 7 months. Give myself a 7-month kind of period from the end of January. So I did have to grind pretty hard in order to make that deadline, with a video every month updating my progress, seeing how I was doing along the way. Now, I made it very clear in those videos that I did spend, and I do spend on this game. That said, don't get me wrong, I'm nowhere near a whale, let alone a kraken. In a sea of whales, I am but a minnow, a plankton even. I'm a very, very budget spender. I spend maybe a few $100s on the game per year, so we're not talking about a huge investment. But I think my experience of the grind is pretty free-to-play friendly. I don't think it's that different from the experience that you would have if you were doing it completely free-to-play. But that said, I know that the free-to-play badge, the free-to-play status, is very highly honored by people who truly are free-to-play, and rightfully so. I completely understand that. So in the interests of openness, transparency, I want to make it perfectly clear that I did indeed spend. That said, how much did I invest in this process, in unlocking Sith Eternal Emperor in that 7 or 8 month window? And the answer is, I spent $309.92, excluding tax. I went through my credit card statement and looked at every single purchase that I'd made on this, and that was the grand total, $309.92. So what did I spend on? Well, the vast majority of that went on crystals. I found that when I was farming, I just did not have enough crystals, and most of the time that wasn't actually farming the characters up to 7-star, although I did have issues with Piet. I actually ended up spending crystals on shards of Piet towards the end. He was a very tough grind, but most of the time it was for the gear. I just had to take so many characters up from really low levels. When I started, I only had 3 characters that I needed were in relic level. So I think I had Tarkin. He's the first character that I relicked up at the end of January. I took him up to relic 3. Vader, who was relicked, but he was nowhere near relic 7. I think he was just sitting on relic 3 as well. And I believe I had also relicked Palpatine, although I could be wrong about that. To be honest with you, I can't remember. But I needed to have a total of 14 characters up at relics, varying levels, and I didn't have anyone up at the level they needed to be at. So most of that spending, most of those crystals, went on gear grind. Most of that I was trying to get characters up to the relevant relic level, and I was just investing in the gear I needed to do that. And in order to do that, I actually ended up purchasing this chest of crystals right here for $20 for 2,800 crystals. It's the most popular crystal chest according to the game, and that's the one I went for. $20 to give me 2,800 crystals. I actually ended up doing that 5 times. When I started doing that, I had no idea that I would also end up buying a vault of crystals later on for $100 for 15,710 crystals. So I probably would have been better off just buying doing two $100 packs, but I didn't know that at the time, right? Microtransactions, that's how they get you. You're doing a number of microtransactions and they end up adding up to a large amount. So I definitely should have just bought two of the $100 packs, but that seemed like too much of an outlay, even though it is what I ended up doing. So the $20 packs, I do think they're really good value. The $100 pack, if you can afford it, that is the best way to buy crystals. It's pretty pricey, but it was much better than buying a lot of the other packs that they have on offer. Having the crystals on hand let me decide how I spent them, whether that was refreshing nodes, whether it was spending them in stores, or whether it was just straight up buying gear in the game with those crystals. So that's what I ended up going for. However, it's not the only thing I bought. I also ended up buying a relic pack for $100. Now I can't show you this pack in the store because they have a purchase limit of 1 and I've already bought it, so it doesn't show up in the store anymore. But I bought it in order to get this resource here, the Xin Biddle card. Now this unsuspecting little guy is super important when it comes to taking characters up to the higher relic levels. You need the Xin Biddle card relic 6 onward. You need 10 of them to take a character up to relic 6 and then another 10 to take them up to relic 7. Now I honestly don't remember how many of these I got in that $100 pack, but I did the math and it was enough. I had some Xin Biddles anyway, but the pack gave me enough to take everyone else that I needed to in order to get Sith Eternal up to relic 6 and up to relic 7, to the point that, as you can see now, I only have 4 left over. And look how expensive this is. This is the scavenger right here, right? And it costs so much. Look at that gear there that we would have to scrap in order to get the Xin Biddle card. And if I just throw all of this on here, so this is all of the orange high level gear that I have at the moment, we'd be getting 40 cards. So that's enough to take like 2 characters up to relic 6 and then to relic 7. And remember, I had to do, actually I don't remember how many I need to take up to relic 7. Is it 5? I think 5 characters I had to take up, maybe 6 that I had to take up to relic 7, but you had to take others up to relic 6, Thrawn and Dooku. So it does get very expensive. So for me, it was worth buying that pack solely to get the Xin Biddle card. Now, of course, it gave me a bunch of other resources too, and some of the signal data and other things that you need to relic people. But that investment right back at the beginning, that was early investment that I made. I think it was in February, so I'd only just set myself this goal. Spending that $100 up front, even if I hadn't bought the crystals, that would have made my life so much easier. So if you've got the money, I do recommend investing in that $100 relic bundle, if for no other reason than to get your hands on those Xin Biddle cards. So there you go. That was my total. 1 relic pack and then a whole bunch of crystals, and when you add that all together, I spent about $200 on crystals and then about another 100 on that relic pack. So that's where I get my total of a little over $300. Was it worth it? I think it was. That said, I do stand by the claim that actually if I hadn't done that, I don't think I'd be that far behind. I definitely could have unlocked Sith Eternal before the end of the year. I think I'd be coming up to him around now, so maybe October or November I'd be able to unlock Sith Eternal if I hadn't spent that $300. So I probably only bought myself a couple of months. Now, of course, it's important to mention that was something that I was able to do, something that I was comfortable doing. If you don't have the money, don't spend it on the game. You can still get there through the grind, and that's really the purpose of me making this video here. Yes, I spent money on Sith Eternal. Yes, I think it's worth it. I had a bunch of fun doing it, a bunch of fun making those update videos and hitting my own little self-imposed deadline, and I am actually having a bunch of fun with Sith Eternal now, even though he's not very powerful. I can't wait to completely power him up, and I'm going to do that completely without spending, so Lord knows how long it's going to take me to get a Sith Eternal up to the higher relic levels, but I'll get there in the end. But if you're watching this video today and you're thinking about spending money on a relic grind as you go toward a Galactic Legend, that's what I'd recommend spending it on. Crystals, because it gives you most flexibility, and then a relic bundle because it gives you some of those high level relic materials that you need in order to unlock your Galactic Legend. But most importantly, if you don't have the money to spend, or you're just disinclined to spend the money on this, you really don't need to. I think it saves you a little bit of time, but at the end of the day, I don't think it saves you that much time. It's still a huge grind, and one of the reasons that I still really like this game, I know there's a lot of complaining and moaning and groaning going on in the community right now, and I do understand it. I honestly do. There are definitely flaws with the current setup for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. But one of the things that I do still really like about it is I think it is still really free to play friendly. You're not going to be completely dominating, and that makes sense, right? If people are willing to spend thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on this game a year, I think it's only right that they should dominate. I was willing to spend $300 apparently unlocking Sith Eternal, so I think it's fair that I bought myself a couple of months with that money. It's up to you whether you think that was worth it or not. But the most important thing I think about this game is that you can play it free to play and you can have a ton of fun. Well, there you go. That was it from me. Just a quick little update. As always, thoughts, comments, criticisms down below. I love to hear from you. If you did find this video informative or entertaining in any way, please consider giving it a like, a thumbs up down below. I really do appreciate it. And hey, while you're here, why not consider subscribing to the channel? I drop new gameplay videos for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and Marvel Strike Force every week, and I would love to have you along for the ride. That is all from Liam Maiden Gameplay today. I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, look after each other. And remember, the Force will be with you, always.